Namaste, my friend. Close your eyes, and when you close your eyes gently and make your body comfortable. When I say make your body comfortable, you are aware of the entire body. You feel the sensation, comfort and steadiness. You can adjust and align your body. Now in that state, you look deep inside the forehead or in the cave of your heart. What it means that we are aware of the space, the blankness, emptiness in the mind. Keep your awareness in that space and listen and chant it mentally. We will contemplate and reflect. This mantra you should remember all the time during the day. So why we are contemplating and reflecting? So that the knowledge in the mantra settles down. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu, Sarvesham swastir bhavatu, Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Let everyone be happy. Instead of auspiciousness, I'm saying let everyone be happy. Mentally, you are reflecting why everyone should be happy. Are you blessing anyone? Answer is no. But it means that, no, the knowledge is hidden in that happiness is our essential nature. Happiness is the nature of all the living species, and that is why everyone is looking for happiness. Yes. So just consciously experience that state of the happiness in you is the same happiness in all the beings. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu, Sarvesham shantir bhavatu, Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. Peace. That peace is like the space. So on one hand, you are aware of that space, the infinite space inside and all around you. It is the same in every being. Why? Because everyone is looking for peace. But when we look for peace outside, it fades away. But the peace in us never fades away. It is permanent. Sarvesham Purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam bhavatu. I'm simply saying that when you do it in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening or before going to the bed, you are just remembering, recalling. That remembering, recalling through the contemplation is nothing but the prayer. Oh, so you are redefining the prayer? No, I'm not redefining the prayer. Fact is that all our great masters have taken this prayer out of the religious context. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. It means let there be a completeness in all. Wholeness, holy. We all are complete. We all are complete since the birth. That sense of completeness, when it settles, is in knowledge in the mind. This mind drops all the anxiety, duality, conflict, reaction of seeking something for peace and happiness, love, truth, and wisdom outside. No, then what happens? We awaken to that peace, happiness, love, wisdom, and the truth. Sarve Sham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Let there be an auspiciousness for all. What is this auspiciousness? That there is one thing that is ever present, all pervading. What does it mean by ever present? That is present all the time, in all the locations, in every being. What is that? That is our nature. That is pure consciousness. That is the journey we have been undertaking. So once we remember, we enter into auspiciousness instantly. And then in that state, you are aware of the space deep inside the cave of your heart. And just say Shanto Hum. That means I am the peace. So you are aware of the space. Then the mind says Shanto means peace. There is a space. Hum, I am the peace. Again there is a space. Shanto, space. Hum, space. Just recognize that. I'm not saying to make any effort at all. Simply recognize. Accept the interval in the space in between. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside. Bring the hands down and experience the change in your mental state. Did you reflect upon what we learned last time? How many times you were upset since the last session? How many times you remembered that you are the real self? These questions will answer your progress. The step 2, today we are going to start the step 2. The step 2 means that how to perform our actions in daily, personal, professional, social life to drop all our anxiety, duality, and a conflict, and how to use the action in daily life to purify the mind. Normally you see that because every action, what is action? Thought, speech, and action. We think that is also an action. Speech, we speak to someone, and physical action. That thought, speech, and action together is what is known as an action or the karma, because the way we do it, majority of the time we invite the stress and the fear and the duality and a conflict. Yesterday I was giving a lesson to this young guy in his 30s, very well built, I was joking to him that you have a six-pack and still you have such a great fear in your life. How you align the six-pack with the fear and the anxiety that you have. You see that? So it is something deeper within the mind. Even if I have an intent to do the things that is right in my life, it goes wrong and it causes the fear and the anxiety. So we should understand from what happens when we perform our action in daily life. Don't forget to read all the first 3 sections of the book. This is the 4th section of the book and the step number 2. So once we know the first step, that knowledge of the real self, whereas it is self-knowledge, it is known as nirvana, it is awakening. When does awakening takes place? When we understand clearly what is real self. When we receive, retain, and the knowledge is settled in the intellect, then, is that so easy? Do you ever forget your name when you wake up in the morning? For how many years you have been waking up every day? Did you ever forget your house? No, what I want to say, knowledge is settled completely in your intellect. So you mean to say that the knowledge of the real self is not settled completely? That is why I forget, and that you forget, that is ignorance, and the ignorance is causing the suffering. No, but how that ignorance is related to the actions that I perform daily in my life? If you perform an action habitually, automatically, impulsively, without understanding, without right understanding and the knowledge, that is the cause of the suffering. So they are related. So second step is how to perform action since we wake up until we retire to the bed. So we are understanding that sorry, that the action that we perform means the way I think, speak, and act in my personal professional life should not cause any fear, anxiety, duality, and a conflict. That is the first motivation, first aim. And the second is that, I cannot live without action, so let me perform an action to purify the mind. That is the topic. So in the first session of the step 2, we will go a little deeper. So we will start with, you see, the complete knowledge and complete ignorance, or you can use the word total ignorance. What is total ignorance? Do we enter into total ignorance? Yes. When we are in deep sleep, we are not aware of the world, we are not aware of the body, we are not aware of the problem and the pain and the duality and attachment and the fear. It is total ignorance, my friend. And there is a famous proverb in English, ignorance is bliss. When we wake up after a deep sleep, we find, oh, what is sleep? What a calmness and a freshness that I have. So that is why it is known as the ignorance is bliss. That is why you see that those people, you might have experienced those people who drink too much and they go out of their control as if they are in complete ignorance, so they start talking of things that you have never heard from them. Because, ignorance is bliss. That is another way to understand. But at the same time, the total knowledge is also bliss. Ignorance is bliss is half the phrase. Complete, total knowledge is also the bliss. So what is that? Total knowledge means that I know my real self of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. But when I have incomplete knowledge about my real self, then we have a fear, anxiety, duality, conflict. Are you getting it? Say yes. If you're not getting it, your mind says, no, I'm not. So you have to listen to it again. so incomplete knowledge, incomplete ignorance, or incomplete knowledge. Incomplete knowledge means little knowledge. Little knowledge that I know something. Who am I? My name, my gender, my age, my profession, but I don't know at the core who am I. So it is an incomplete knowledge. Did you understand it? So now let us move further. With that incomplete knowledge, I think, speak, and act in my life. That is the point I want to bring it. With that incomplete knowledge settled in the mind, plus some impulsive nature, habitual nature, is the way we perform all our actions in daily life. I'm going step by step. Pay attention. The first, complete knowledge, complete ignorance. Clear? And incomplete knowledge, that by which I perform the action in my daily life. So it means I perform all my actions with incomplete knowledge. Now come to the third point. You have to remember by the point, and you have to, I would say, you have to constantly ponder, brood, contemplate, and reflect. So are you clear? Complete knowledge, complete ignorance, incomplete knowledge at present I have because I don't know the real self. So with that incomplete knowledge, I perform all my actions. What should be the next point? Everyone is known by their actions. Nobody knows what a wonderful and a good intent you have in your head. The world outside, the people outside, people at workplace, in your family, in your personal and professional life, they know you by your actions. You may have a right intent, but because of the incomplete knowledge, your actions turns wild. Are you getting it? Action means your thought, your speech, your actions. All our actions. So here the master says something deeper. That all our actions are done because of incomplete knowledge. But actions are performed. So all our actions are the expression of deep-rooted impressions in the mind. We are going deeper. Please keep reading the first three sections, including the fourth section, step 1 and the step 2. All our actions, because of the incomplete knowledge, are an expression of deep-rooted past impressions that contain what? Then contain the memory of anger, fear, reaction, fight. Clear? Yes, that you say, that is right. What should we do? What should we do before any action? I should know in the mind, before performing an action, during the action, after the action, I am aware of the intent. Then what happens? I can lessen the power of these past impressions. I will make the anxiety and the fear flee from my system. You have been saying, I had gone into anxiety and I had a reaction and then I did this and then I got upset. So now you see that? So by moving, by knowledge of the real self in the intellect, I can lessen, I can decrease, minimize. Are you getting it? Complete knowledge, complete ignorance. Both are bliss. Incomplete knowledge is the source of all the worries. What is the incomplete self-knowledge? So with that ignorance, I am performing all my actions. So incomplete knowledge contains, no, but before that, We are known by our actions, but our actions are done by the incomplete knowledge. And incomplete knowledge contains anger. It comes from the past impression in my head. It makes my life worthy of suffering. Are you getting it? So by knowledge of the real self in the intellect, I can decrease, minimize the impact of anxiety, duality, reaction that is buried deep inside on my thought, speech, and action. Oh, that is the step 2 of this journey. What a beautiful step. I must learn it. Yes, I must learn. The step 2 is this. Are you clear? Let us go a little deeper. What we want by our action. What exactly we want from our action. Action contains the desire. No one sends you the message to be angry, to react, to fight when I meet you. But because of the incomplete knowledge, the expression causes a reaction, anxiety, and anger. So we always want, there is always a desire to be happy, to think, by thinking, by speaking, and by acting. That is how we perform our actions. Are you clear? So the quality and the choice of our actions makes us happy. Are you clear? Every action should lead us to happiness and peace, and it is happening because of the ignorance in the mind. And I have given you the reason why it happens. We don't have an option to stop acting in our life. We cannot stop it. We have always to act. The moment we wake up in the morning until we retire to the bed, we have no option. Do you see that? We have no option not to act. Life is action. And action is nothing but the thought, speech, and physical action. Because of the desire that we made it clear. Clear? Yes, you are clear, my friend. You are clear. From small daily desires like going to the restroom, going to the kitchen, that is also an action, to talking to someone, your relations, driving, action. From small desire to the big desire. So here what happens, the impulsive, now understand, so we are clear. So now what is the next step? That we have desires. Desires are binding or unbinding. Now see, desires are binding and unbinding. So that is the first step of learning, that we are going deeper inside our head from the past impression. Because of incomplete knowledge, we do not know if the desire is binding or desire is unbinding. So I don't know, desire is binding, means emotional dependence. I already have a past impression about someone, and those impression carries the impression of anger and hesitation, or just see the disliking. So even you try to prevent it, it is going to be expressed directly or indirectly, and other guy will have a feel of it. You see the binding and unbinding desire. We have to go little slowly, but step by step understanding. You have to listen to it again and again. So now, no, we don't have any option to act in our life, means we have no option. If I come to you, you have to talk to me. But question is, with what intent you talk to me? The same way we communicate and we think and we speak and we write. Writing is also an action. I appreciate when you write to me. I always love. And I think over it before I respond to you. So no option of action. The action contains the desire, and the desire is binding and the non-binding. What is binding desire? Binding desire is caused by the emotional dependence, delusion, and expectation. Now comes the now what comes? So if I have a binding desire, my friend, what happens with the binding desire? Binding the book, sometime with a glue or sometime with. So that binding desire keeps on accumulating good and the bad impressions both. I talk to you with the love and the care, and so you talk to me. So both the minds carries the good impression, and these good impression goes deep into the mind. There is a reservoir of the mind. They keep on accumulating. So-called bad desire, bad impressions are known as the sins. Good impressions are known as the virtues in our life, and they are hidden. We cannot know them. They are invisible, but their impact is seen. How can you say their impact is seen in my action? How can you say? How their impact is seen in our thought, speech, and action? Can I give you a simple answer? Yes, give me the simple answer. Simple answer is that you are talking to someone for half an hour, everything is going fine, and suddenly you get upset. So that upset is the impression manifested from the sin. You hug a person, that positive, that virtues, that is invisible, has an impact on your behavior, attitude, and action. Virtues, sins and the virtues, whatever, we don't know. Sins and virtues may have an impact on each thought, speech, and action in our daily life. Causes both, causes peace with one and stress with other. It has nothing to do with anyone. It has to do nothing with anyone. It is inside. Are you getting it, my friend? I told you we are going deeper now. Keep reading the first section at least once a week so that your mind, your intellect is clear what we are understanding. So now you get the get the reason that why we normally get upset with our action even if the intention is opposite. Look at it. This is what is happening all the time in our life. Why all the time? Oh, all the time in a waking state, we are acting, we are thinking, or we are speaking, or we are performing some action. Are you clear? Complete knowledge, complete ignorance, incomplete knowledge. Incomplete knowledge. I started with every step by step, incomplete knowledge. Then I said we are known by our actions. The fourth point, the fifth point, all our actions are expression of the incomplete knowledge, because any time I think, speak, and act, it had to start from the head. But I don't know who am I, so there is a sense of incomplete knowledge. So it means my all actions are being expressed or coming from that incomplete knowledge, the depository, the fixed account that I have created. Oh, that contains good and bad impressions. So if I understand deeply what is going to happen, I'll purify my mind. My all actions, every action, no action, I would say no action will cause any worries and problem. Oh, so then we picked up the next point, that every action has a desire in it. Without desire, you cannot do any action. But then desire of two kinds, binding and unbinding. And the binding desire has a sense of emotional dependence and the delusion that you are in front of me, you like me, hence I expect peace from you, but your mood is not good, so I feel bad about it. Anything can happen. Oh, that is what the binding and unbinding desire is. Yes, my friend. At the same time, I have no option not to act because life is action. So if I get rid of the unbinding desire, then my thought, speech, and action will always offer me peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. Tell me, is it not possible? But then we moved our discussion in a little deviation, that binding desires may be good, may be bad. What is good is virtues, merits. What is bad, it creates a sin, and then we become a sinner in our life. Don't go into the religion to explain what is sin and virtue. I'm making it very simple to you. Now, can I see those sins and virtues, merits and demerit? No. They are invisible, but their impact is felt. How do I know that their impact is felt? You wake up in the morning and you are upset without any reason. So those sins has an impact. You wake up in the morning, you are totally fresh, you're bubbling with energy. You have a merit. That is the impact. So here a clue, and then I will come back to that clue. If I think, speak, and act out of shreyas, what is right and good, what is right and good, I if I think, speak, and act out of shreyas, what will happen? I will add more merits in my life and minimize sins in my life. It means before action, I have to work. Before action, my mental state, my attitude, my I'm aware of that attitude in the mind, the behavior that is going to help me. So, where these impressions are accumulated, so what our master says, they are accumulated in the reservoir of the mind, a pond of the mind. Anything that I do in my life at any point of time, consciously or unconsciously, habitually, instinctively, impulsively, out of the joy, their impressions are always accumulated deep inside the reservoir of the mind. That is how we repeat some of the good actions and we repeat some of the bad actions in our life. Everyone has a typical behavior and attitude being expressed because of that reservoir. So, but that reservoir contains, you can say, the two compartments, the sins compartment and virtues. And I do not know if the sins and the virtues are going to manifest while talking to you, while talking to my friend, while talking to my sister or son or family. They are invisible. Their impact is felt. I have to minimize the impact. All our expressions, stress, suffering caused by this merit and demerit. My friend, are you clear? This is what I summarized this. So now go to the next step. Is there a way to get out of this trap? I'm not talking of the DNA. I'm not talking of the DNA. Yes, our master says, yes, we can be totally free from this trap. Don't go again to the religion, because the religion will teach you that you are a sinner. They dig deep inside you. Every day you remember that you are a sinner. Eastern wisdom teaches you are the real self of the nature of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. What is the way? First, is there a way to get out of this trap? Yes. Where is the way? The karma yoga. I added, karma means action. So one option that I continue to perform all my actions and continue to have an occasional and frequent stress, anxiety, upset, it is being repeated. So if I change every action to the action yoga, I will explain you. Here the meaning of the yoga is different. Then I become totally free from the trap. Clear? So we have to go a little deeper now. Now, how many times you say, now, to make you aware and alert. What is that? There must be agent of an action. Agent means that there must be a doer of an action. Oh, yes, I'm the doer of an action. There must be an agent of action. Agent of action means the doer. And then you will say, I'm the doer. Yes, you are the doer. But who is this I? I believe you are the doer. You are the doer, but who is this doer? So if I discover the doer in me clearly, I can change my attitude, behavior, response to become ever free, ever free from, ever free from what you normally write: anxiety, duality, conflict, reaction, upset, etc., etc. You can give another expression. So, are you getting it clear? So, all expressions, any impression, that is, I was just talking about those impressions are present in the reservoir of the mind. They cannot express themselves. There must be a doer, there must be an agent, and that agent is I. But who is this I? This I is the ego. Oh, this I is the ego? Yes. But there is one thing more. That ego is supported by the merits and demerits, sense and the virtues. So that I thought triggers the sense and the virtues. Even I have a good intent, but my action prove me wrong, and I enter into anxiety and the duality. Are you getting it? It is done by the ego, supported by the sense and the virtues. But ego does it. Why ego does it? Another question. Because of ignorance. We have taken about circle 360 degree. Did you understand? It is done by but why ego does it? Because of ignorance. Oh, you are right. And we have taken a total 360 degree. How come? Because I told you, complete knowledge. Complete not total knowledge in total ignorance. Total ignorance is bliss. So I do not know. That ignorance is incomplete. So I don't know clearly the motivation behind it. So as long as what? As long as this ego supported by sense and virtues, and with all, I would say, with emotional dependence that I covered before, is going to keep me in anxiety, duality, conflict, etc. So now what is the solution? Something is coming to your mind. What is the solution? Solution is simple. I have to treat this ego. It is an agent of action. Clear? And I have to treat, what I have to do? I have to treat, first I have to treat ego. I have to treat the past impressions causing impurity in the mind, impurities in the mind, and I have to act. I have to think, speak, and act out of what is right and good. And that is karma yoga. So we say the karma yoga. What does karma yoga? Purifies the mind. That was the topic. I started with that. Are you getting it? That purifies. So now you have an answer: who guides the binding desires in my life? Ego, supported by emotional dependence, supported by the past impressions coming from the reservoir of the mind. So I do not know what happened to me, why I get upset. I was just talking and thinking and good about everything, and suddenly I get upset. Suddenly there is a mood swing. Suddenly I wake up in the morning and I say, oh, this is such a bad morning. Did sun rise in the west so that you can say that it's a bad morning? These impressions that we just understood not only causes the anxiety reaction, we continue to experience the fatigue, stress, and suffering reaction in our life because of this. So now, what is the next step? Oh, what do you mean by ego? You may ask me. Yes, I can make it clear. No worries. Pay attention. You are looking at me, so you look at my body. You know my gender, position, the way I'm talking, etc., etc. Outer level. Yeah, person number A in you. Now, what you see outside, that corresponds with the feeling inside. Feeling, attitude, maybe behavior you form. That is person two. There is person one outside, person two inside in your mind. Person one outside, physical, gender, age, sex, profession, etc. At the same time, the person too creates such a feeling, attitude, a kind of summary that takes birth in the mind simultaneously. Clear? What is ego now? Person three. Who is person three in us, in you, in me, in everyone? Person 3 is equal to person 1 plus person 2. They merge together. That is what the ego is. Can you show the location of the ego inside? Can you show me the location of the thought inside? This is too much. No, this is clear. Thought comes and thought goes. Simple. Thought comes and thought goes. There is no location as such. It is imagined location created by the person 1, person 2. Person 1 outside, person 2 inside, and then they merge together. They create, oh, hello, how are you? Our tone of action in speech is healthy, wonderful, encouraging when the inner attitude is full of love and affection. And if it is not, hello, how are you? As if we are going to die the next moment. Are you getting it? You cannot locate the person 1 and 2 because it is everything is happening in thought, in feeling, in emotions. Are you clear? what we are talking. Do you remember? We are understanding the path of the karma yoga. We are understanding the path of the karma yoga. Why? To purify the mind. But why to purify the mind? So that I do not have an impact from the sins and the virtues. Both sins, I just want to transcend that. So that I am a free bird. The way I communicate and think and speak and act is always full of energy, creativity, peace, love, and wisdom. I do not depend on what? Ego. Follow the reverse path. I do not depend on ego. Then whom I have to depend on, that we are going to talk. That is the secret of karma yoga. So if you make a reverse trend, so ego, yes. Can you show location of ego? No. But ego exists, yes. Person 1, person 2, person 3. Why we are talking about the ego? When I say I am upset, it is ego. I am in stress, I am happy. This is ego. Now I need to treat this ego. Then only I can get rid of the past impression and emotional dependence. No, but what ego does? Ego causes the ignorance. Now, how do you say the ego causes the ignorance? We are going back. What we have learned. Because ego causes the ignorance, it simply means all the impressions, they cannot act on their own. There must be an I, the doer, and that doer is the ego. Can we get out of this trap? Yes, by the karma yoga. No, but I have to perform all my actions all the time. All our experiences of stress, suffering caused by the merits and demerits. And they are invisible. They are invisible. Are you getting it? No, they are invisible. Yes, you are right. But how? They are invisible. They are invisible. But the moment I start acting in my life, they come for support unconsciously, even if it is not required. Do all impressions of our actions are accumulated? Yes. Anything, any good, bad impressions, every impressions are accumulated. Where they are accumulated? They are accumulated in the reservoir of the mind. The sins, when they manifest, they always give pain and suffering, anxiety, duality. Oh, that is what. So behind our thought, speech, and action, if the sin is creates an impact, obviously I will have a lot of challenges. And that is the reason to get upset. Everything is going fine and still I get upset. My friend, you have to listen to it again and again. As you calculate your money, I know your profession, so as you calculate your money and you have a mathematical number, so based on this, you listen to it again and create a magic number. Oh, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once you are absorbed and clearly understand these steps, the next week we are going to take up in detail. We will follow after that what exactly is karma yoga and how karma yoga helps us to purify the mind, to enjoy that sense of freedom.